everybody. Welcome to another episode of G-Tech. Now, some of you may not know, I'm an amateur radio operator. My call sign is KK6AC. I have a number of repeaters in the central San Joaquin Valley. Over the years, with the help of friends, those repeaters developed into a system, the KERN system. The Kern County Central Valley Amateur Radio Club in Bakersfield invited our group to give a presentation about our system. So I prepared that presentation, and not only did we give it, but also I recorded it, and it's for your benefit. Before we start though, if you like this episode, hit the like button and subscribe. Well, let's get into it. Okay, so enough said, let's get introduce Carrie here, and we'll get the presentation started. And then, like I said, as soon as the presentation's done, then we'll do a question and answer. We'll introduce everybody and see if there's any questions. So. Thank you. As you know, I'm Jerry, KK6AC. They say, the core groups say I'm the originator of the KERN system. I've been tinkering around with repeaters since 1993. I had my first repeater up on Shirley Peak. That being said, over the years, it evolved into what it is today. And it wouldn't be that way. It has nothing to do with me. It's these guys. Steve Hess, he's a core member, K6KGE. Ron, K6RHE, and he's our repeater doctor. He's the main one that takes care of all the repeaters. We got quite a number, as you're going to see. And John, you guys know John. He takes care of the club machines too, but he has machines. All these guys have machines. And then also we have Lee, KI6HHU, and he has machines as well. So we have a total of, and it mentions it in the video, but around 21 repeaters. Mostly 440, but we got 900 and 220, right, Ryan? Anyway, it's a nice system. It's open to all amateurs, you know, that have a license, obviously, but it's open. So feel welcome to join and jump on there and use it and give a call. There's not a problem with that. The only caveat, there is one caveat. We have two solar-powered machines. One of them is Oak Flat, and the other is on Cummings. And so what we ask on that is to keep your QSOs to 20 minutes, right, Ron? Yes. 20 minutes or less. That way we can keep the charge up on the solar-powered repeaters. Anyway, enough of that. I created a presentation. We'll go ahead and show that. It's less than 15 minutes long, so I don't want to bore you too much. But it starts out with the basics of repeaters. And I know some of you already been through that. I get that. But then there's some new ones that may not. That's what I was told. So the beginning will show that part of it. Then it'll go into the current system. So let me get it started here. Some of you already know the basics of how a repeater works, but we may have newer ones present, so we will go over the basics of repeater and link radios. This will help to understand how the KERN system functions. Communicating directly radio to radio is usually done via simplex, which means each radio transmits and receives on the same frequency. Range from radio to radio is limited by a number of factors including antenna gain and terrain. Even though there can be some reflection and refraction, VHF and UHF frequencies are basically line of sight. If a building or hill gets between the two parties trying to talk to each other, it can cause signal to be degraded or totally lost. This is where a repeater comes into play. What is a repeater? A repeater is an automated radio relay station. In most cases, it receives on one frequency and transmits on another. Think about it. If it transmits and receives on the same frequency, it would talk to itself and nothing else would be heard. Usually, a repeater is installed on a higher location like a building or a hill so that it can have good line of sight over a larger area than a mobile or portable radio would. Therefore, it can extend the range of a mobile or portable radio greatly. The higher the altitude of a repeater above the terrain increases its coverage. This is where mountaintops really come into play. Picture the guy on the left being in Bakersfield on a handheld. Now picture the person on the right being in Mojave. There is no way they could be able to reach each other directly. The distance is too great, and there are mountains in the way. Picture yourself on one of those mountains between the two persons. On top of the mountain, you have a great line of sight view to each side. You could hear both the person in Bakersfield and the person in Mojave. This would be a good location to install a repeater. In this illustration, both persons have their radios set to receive on one frequency, which is the repeater transmitter frequency. Their radios are programmed to transmit on a separate frequency. The repeater hears that signal and retransmits it out on a separate frequency, and the guy in Mojave has his radio tuned to the transmit frequency and can hear what the person in Bakersfield is saying. When the person in Mojave talks, his radio is set up exactly like the person in Bakersfield. His transmitter is tuned to the repeater receive frequency. The repeater hears it and retransmits it, and the person in Bakersfield is tuned to that repeater transmit frequency, and he can hear the person in Mojave. It takes a few items to enable a repeater to work correctly. This includes an antenna system and low-loss coax or hardline. We obviously need a receiver and transmitter. However, even though the receive and transmit frequencies are different, just combining the antenna to both at the same time will not work. The transmitter will desensitize the receiver and probably damage it due to the output power. Back in the day, someone figured out that we can use inductance and capacitance to tune out the transmit frequency on the receiver and also filter out the receive frequency on the transmitter. The device that does this is called a duplexer or cavity. Properly set up, even a preamp can be installed on the receive to make it more sensitive. Another piece of equipment needed is something to repeat the audio from the receiver into the transmitter and also turn the transmitter on when the receiver hears something. This device is called a controller. A controller usually includes other functions such as FCC required identification of the repeater transmitter and a timeout timer, and also the ability to connect other radios for linking. Summing it up, your radio sends a signal to the repeater receiver picks it up. The controller sees the signal due to a subaudible tone being received from the sender, and retransmits the audio to the transmitter, which is set to a different frequency and usually regenerates the same subaudible tone. That audio signal is then retransmitted out that different frequency. The receive and transmit duplexers keep the RF from the transmitter from desensitizing the receiver. Other radios hear the repeated signal on the repeater output frequency, and receivers can be programmed to only receive with that subaudible tone. This eliminates squelch bursts and other unwanted signals from being received. The benefits of a repeater are that it allows handhelds and mobile radios to cover large areas. They bypass obstacles like buildings and terrain. This is essential for emergency communication networks. They support community nets and hobbyists, examples being our club repeaters and other repeaters like the KERN system. Examples of repeater use include daily nets connecting local and distant amateur radio operators. For instance, the Cactus system has the Tom and Jerry net every morning starting at 5 a.m. I check in on that net and hear amateur radio operators on that system all over the U.S., including Washington, D.C. Another valuable service repeaters and repeater systems provide are emergency communication during disasters. Also, as we just mentioned, multiple repeaters can be linked for wide area coverage like the Cactus and KERN systems. How are multiple repeaters linked? Originally, it was done with RF backbone links. They consist of another radio at the repeater site operating on a different band to minimize interference. One of the common bands that's used for linking is the 420 MHz band. Usually, the hub repeater link radio is full duplex, meaning it can transmit and receive at the same time and uses duplexers like the repeater itself. The link radios at the other repeater sites are usually half duplex. Otherwise, a continuous loop would form with the link radios talking to the hub, and there would be a lot of co-channel interference from the other repeater links connected to the hub repeater. Of course, now we have a newer way to link repeaters. It's through the internet, and we have examples of that such as Echolink, All-Star, and IRLP. But if there's a disaster and the internet goes down, then those repeaters won't be able to talk to each other. But it is usually best practice to connect repeaters together using an RF backbone. That way the system or network will be reliable in the event of a disaster. So in summary, repeaters extend range and reliability of communication. The key parts of a repeater are the antenna, the receiver, the duplexer, the transmitter, and the controller. Repeaters are vital for both hobby and emergency communication. And repeaters can be linked together to form a wide area network, useful for emergency communication and nets. Repeaters are built and maintained by amateur radio clubs and also by private amateurs. Part of your club dues go to the maintenance of the club repeaters. That takes us to the KERN system. The KERN system consists of a number of repeaters that are connected by an RF backbone. That RF backbone uses 420 MHz link radios. We also have internet tied to the system. These internet connections include IRLP, Echolink, All-Star, and DMR. We sure have a lot of fun with the different modes. Here is a picture of our RF 420 link backbone. As you can see, we have a number of repeaters and they're all tied into the central hub, which is Fraser. Now the repeaters that are connected to Fraser with the blue lines, those are Taft and Paleto Peak. They don't see Fraser directly, so we have another 420 hub that sees both Paleto and Taft and also sees Fraser, and that's being used as a repeater to repeat that backbone link. We have 3 repeaters on our system that are 8,000 feet or higher, our highest being 8,500 feet. At those altitudes they see a lot and they have excellent coverage. But even at 8,000 feet or higher, their coverage can be limited. That's why they're spread apart and have 420 RF backbone links. That way, communication can be had over greater distances. We can see here the coverage of our Fraser repeater. And we see here a picture of our Fraser Mountain repeater site. And this is the coverage plot of the Double Mountain repeater. And here we see from a helicopter view all of the Double Mountain comm sites. Our Double Mountain repeater is located here. This is the coverage of the Buck Rock repeater. It is at 8,500 feet, and as you can see, it covers a chunk of the central and southern San Joaquin Valley. And here is a picture of our Buck Rock comm site. And as you can see in this coverage plot, San Benito also covers a chunk of the central and southern San Joaquin Valley as well. And here we have the coverage of Oak Flat or the Canyon repeater. This repeater is vital to communications in the Kern Canyon. As you can see in this plot, it covers up the canyon all the way to Lake Isabella, providing reliable communication in that canyon. And here is a view from Oak Flat looking east. As you can see, there's a lot of line of sight in that canyon. Therefore, we have good coverage on 178 going through that canyon. The KERN system has many more repeaters than we've shown here. The link part of the system consists of about 10 linked repeaters, 9 440 repeaters, and 1 220 repeater. We have 3 900 repeaters that can be linked on demand to the system. Regarding DMR, we have 3 440 DMR machines. The KERN system also has 2 900, 1 2 meter, and 1 440 standalone repeaters. We also have 1 440 Yaesu Fusion repeater. This totals up to about 21 repeaters that we have as a group. We have repeater-specific information on our webpage, www.kernsystem.org. Thank you. Again, it's an open system. Repeaters are our passion. I can't say enough about these guys. If you've talked to them on the radio, and even Lee, and I'm sorry he can't be here, but he wanted to be here. Bottom line is, really good people. And most of you know John. Anyway, they're just good people. And again, the system wouldn't be what it is today without them. They make the system. They're the ones that make it what it is. And it's really enjoyable. That being said, I do want to open it up to questions. Any questions?
Have you played with jerks, pirates that get on there like in some systems? They, may not have a license, but they'll get on there and, just wreak havoc.
Once in a blue moon, but we haven't had it for a while.
It's been at least a year.
Yeah.
In LA, I know there's a lot of riffraff.
Yeah, there is, and even on the cactus system. But that being said, we have the ability. Now, all our repeaters, most of them, have different courtesy tones, so we can find out who's on, what machine it's on. We can shut the machine down. Yeah, it's nice that we have a local system that, I always dreamed of that. When I was a kid in the 80s, you go out into the desert, you're in Mojave or Barstow, and you had no way to talk to your buddies back in Bakersfield. And so I always dreamed, something that would connect some repeaters. And I happened to come across some sites, and then it grew from there to what it is. I mean, these guys are crazy. They're crazy. We do use commercial equipment too. So our repeaters, we were using MSF 5000s, but they're kind of aging. So we basically got rid of those, and we're using Tate TB8100 machines. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
Who funds the equipment purchases or whatever? Or is that all you guys? Is it your?
Yep. Now.
So privately funded.
Yeah. So we've done that. Now we did come across. So John and I, when we worked for PG&E, he spent and when I got hired there. Right when I got hired, they were installing a new comm system there up and down the state. They spent $60 million on repeaters and installing them. Those were those Tates. Before I retired, I think it was the year right before, they were upgrading to DMR Tate. And guess what? They were going to throw those out. Now, John and I didn't have the ability to try to get those repeaters, but we had a friend on the coast who was higher up in the company, and then he knew somebody. Anyway, bottom line is, the company, when they changed them out, they donated those, not just to us, to other clubs. Now, this is about, 4 years ago now. Bottom line is, so we were fortunate that our group got repeaters. That's how we were able to replace the MSF 5000s. So Yeah.
I'm very new. Are you a ham club or are you a?
We're just into. we're just a bunch of repeater nerds that. Oh, I see Ron saying, "Speak for yourself." No. So again, okay. So I don't know if any of you guys know Mark Telfer, KG6KKV. Okay. Back in the day when I had a machine in Oildale and a Shirley Peak machine. And I met him when I was working for the telephone company. And he had a repeater in his house. And I said, hey, because I had a place in Oildale. I said, it ended up that he put a repeater there. And we linked the machines together with Shirley. That's how we got started. Then I remember Lee coming up on the radio. And next thing you know, Lee and us are talking, and he goes, well, I'm up on the ridge at 6,700 feet, and, we could put a repeater on Cummings, because he's over that site. And so that's how that starts. So we got Cummings tied into it. Anyway, it just so happened Mark and us kind of parted ways. We're friends, good friends. Nothing happened. It's just that we had just different ideas. Eventually, when I got Fraser, I wanted that to be the central hub because it saw a lot of machines around, the valley. And I acquired Buckrock, and I had that tied into Fraser. So the bottom line is we rearranged, got them tied into Fraser. Lee got that in. We got a machine on double. Anyway, it just grew. Over the years, it grew into what it is. And of course, Steve and Ron, there are digital doctors. They're the ones that, we're talking about DMR, All-Star. So I'm not putting those systems down. We enjoy those. But if you want a really reliable system in an event of a disaster, you need RF backbone between the machines. Go ahead.
I have a question. Several months ago, I was trying to map our repeated coverage, and I saw your coverage maps over there, pretty nice. But my question is, are those maps based on some sort of algorithm or based on real reports?
Yeah, so it's the actual program is a Radio Mobile. That's the name of it. So it's called Radio Mobile Software, and I attempted to download it, but it gets a little complicated and everything. And then I found out there's a Canadian guy. He's got a 2-call sign. He has a site and a computer dedicated, so you can plug in the numbers. You plug in the coordinates. You plug in your antenna gain, the type of antenna you have, your transmitter power, everything, and it plots the coverage. It's Radio Mobile. And it's a good program.
But it takes into account all the terrain and all the things that are around.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about it. Yeah. So it's free. Yeah. So this it's a website by I've been doing this for years on his site. You just log in, you log on with your credentials. You got to build yourself in. It works great. And the way I do it, those plots that you see are a little on the conservative side. It's just good to be conservative anyway. That way hey, it does cover here.
I think it would be a great idea to show in our webpage or in the page all the repeaters we have in the area that is covered by that repeater. I think it's a great idea.
I don't know if John has it, but I do. I have the web address, and I forget the call sign, but it's a Canadian guy, and it's something. And
VE2DBE.
That's it.
VE2DBE.
Can the club machine link to the KERN system?
Not at this time. Go ahead.
About what percentage of California do you guys have coverage through your repeater system? Is there plans of getting more coverage in Northern California? And also, are there plans in the future of expanding to other states?
Okay, so we did have a repeater on bullion. But again, I'm telling you, things is political. And so we actually lost that site. That repeater was up there for 30 years. We're not actively looking for more coverage right now, and there are several reasons for that. Again, it's control over the system. One of you had brought up the fact you get some hoodlum on there causing trouble, and they're just hard. You get to the point where you're not in range of repeaters, so you're having a hard time trying to figure out, because you won't be able to hear a repeater, hear the courtesy tone that they're on. So that being said, we don't really aim to make it humongous. I would like to get some coverage over on San Luis Obispo, that area. Yes, yeah, Morro Bay. But it's one of those, again, it's political. So this guy, if he's going to do this, first of all, the chance of us putting a repeater there, we don't have those connections. And again, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you can't say, hey, come on in, share this. That's not how that works. Especially when the site owner finds out that there's equipment that they don't know about. By the way, one other thing about that, it isn't just the site owner. The forestry department comes in there. They inspect inside the buildings, and they count the antennas on the tower and the repeaters. So if there's another repeater, another antenna up there, that forestry guy is asking the site owner, what's this? And he's having to explain. So this is how political things have gotten. It's tight. It's tight.
Well, Ron corrected me. We can tie the two systems together via All-Star.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. We just haven't tried it.
But it's an open system. You guys can reach directly into that system. There's no need to tie it normally.
We have so much overlap. I mean, right here in this building, we could get into a lot of repeaters right now that are connected to each other.
Most of your coverage is in the 440 band.
Yeah, all this.
Yeah, the link coverage is 440, and then we have some 900 repeaters that can be controlled in to where they'll link into the system that way too.
Because we have a 440, but we don't use the 440. I barely use it just to see if it's working.
Yeah, a 440 900. That's a nice machine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice machine. Go ahead.
There's one repeater that's selling from this uses Fusion. I think it's 441.600. Is that the part of your system?
Yes,
that's Steve's.
Okay. I have a hard time getting into that.
well, it's a low-level machine, and it's only 20 watts.
Oh, okay.
But it's not handheld coverage in the bigger stuff. I can tell you that right now. You would need an external antenna at a minimum.
Okay.
And you probably need 5 watts. So,
Oh yeah, I've been able to get into it from my house, but other areas, it's kind of like I can some parts of downtown I can get into it with a handheld. I have fun trying to see how well I can do with a handheld.
I've worked at mobile going between Brundage and Garza Circle, mobile.
Okay, that's close to where I was. Yeah.
Huh?
Where is that fusion?
It's in California.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've tested it. I don't know how well it works in East Bakersfield because I was like, yes, it's open.
Okay.
It's absolutely open, but it's permanently linked to the LA repeater room.
Oh, good. Okay.
You can't move it. It is permanently linked into SoCal Net.
Someday.
See you, Terry. It's good to see you.
Take care, bro.
These are the guys, Terry, Steve, and who else? I knew these guys. We were members of the club in the 80s when we first...
He gave me my novice test.
That's it. If there's no other... do you guys have anything to say? Thank you, though. Thank you, and appreciate it.
I personally always thought it was an emergency network only.
Oh.
You know, you scan over the webpage. It's like, okay, well, someday when it's an emergency, I'll use it.
Well, so I come up with that. And here's why. So when I was getting these repeaters together with Fraser at first, I called it the Carla system, K-A-R-L-A. And so it'd be Kern Amateur Radio Linking Association. That's originally. But there's a Carla, C-A-R, and it was too much confusion. So we agreed as a group, at least Lee and I did back in the day, come up with another name. So I thought, well, we're Kern County. See, Kern Emergency Radio. Now, hey, that works. And we do use it for emergency. So we've had, oh man. So bullion. There was a time when bullion, somebody got in an accident in, I believe it was Kings Canyon. They called in and we were able to call the sheriff department and they got help out there. Kern Canyon with Oak Flat, numerous things from boulders on the road, cattle on the road. They call in and we're able to let the sheriff know. So that is how we want that. We do want that for emergencies. And so it kind of fits. And yeah, anyway.
Your guys' system was great on a SARC call out about 5 years ago that I was on, where we didn't have anything else. So it's definitely really helpful.
Well, Civil Air Patrol used it one time too.
Yeah, that was the
that was
one
the
a
one
few
up
years
there.
ago. Yep, down in Ventura County.
Yeah.
We've even had fire patrol south of, like over toward Mount Pinos, flying around using the system as well. I haven't heard them for a few years, but there was a few years ago that they were, oh, no, it's a down plane that they were looking for, and they were using our system because there's no coverage. They didn't have radio where there's a bad spot, but they're able to get into Fraser, and yeah. Anyway.
So where's the tower in Fraser?
It's on top of the mountain.
Is that on Mount Pinus, the big tower?
No, it's on Fraser
Oh,
Mountain.
On Fraser Mountain.
Yeah.
Well, very good. We appreciate it. Any more questions for Jerry and the group? You guys learned enough? Very good. Appreciate your time. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting us. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed that presentation. Again, I'm in Montana vacationing. I just found out that my son caught a bull elk. So right now, his wife and him are up there cleaning it and going to bring it back to the house. Now, last year, a few days from now, it'll be a whole year, I went with my son and he caught a moose. And boy, I really enjoyed that. It was a wonderful time. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Again, if you like it, hit the like button and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. It's a wrap.